The bullies thought they could break Timmy. But when a brutal prank goes too far, he vanishes, only to return stronger. Not with fists of fury, but with the quiet power of inner peace. Now, he's not here to get revenge. He's here to show them the true meaning of strength. Timmy Brooks was the kind of kid most people didn't notice, unless they were laughing at him. Scrawny, quiet, with thick glasses always slipping down his nose and secondhand clothes 2 sizes too big, he kept to himself. He had no real friends at Jackson Middle School, just bullies. Every day was a silent war for Timmy, dodging spitballs, avoiding tripwires, and praying not to be noticed. But the popular kids, especially the trio Brad, Chase, and Marcus, made sure Timmy never went a day in peace. At first, it was small stuff. Nicknames like Twiggy and Timid Timmy shouted across the hallway, slaps on the back of his head, in the lunch line. But over time, it grew crueler. Food dumped on his desk, his homework stolen and ripped to shreds. Once, they locked him in the janitor's closet during recess. No one even noticed he was missing until the end of the day. But nothing compared to what happened that Friday in May, the last day before summer break. Timmy had just finished giving his presentation on marine ecosystems, his voice shaky but sincere, when the teacher asked him to step outside to collect a note from the office. Relieved the presentation was over, Timmy stepped out, unaware of what the bullies had planned. Inside the classroom, Brad whispered to Chase. Chase grinned and reached under his desk, pulling out a crumpled paper bag. Inside, a disgusting concoction of ketchup, mustard, soda, and something that smelled like old tuna. They smeared all over Timmy's backpack and desk. Marcus, the self-declared cameraman of the group, was already rolling on his phone. When Timmy returned, the class burst into laughter. At first, he didn't understand why. Then he saw it. His backpack soaked, his textbooks ruined, and the slimy mess dripping onto the floor. The smell hit him next. Sour, foul, revolting. His face went pale. Then Brad stepped in front of him with a fake look of horror. "Whoa, Timmy, did you pee your pants in your bag?" he shouted. Laughter roared. The teacher tried to restore order, but the damage was done. As Timmy turned to grab what was left of his stuff, Chase yanked his chair out from behind. Timmy crashed to the floor, landing hard. His glasses flew across the room. The video of that moment hit social media before the end of the period. "Worst loser ever," the caption read. It was reposted, shared, and mocked over and over. By lunch, the entire school had seen it. That evening, Timmy didn't eat. He just sat on his bed in silence, his hands clenched around the frayed strap of his ruined backpack. His mother tried to talk to him, but he shut her out. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. Something inside him had just gone quiet. The next morning, a packed suitcase sat by the front door. His mom looked at him through misty eyes. "You sure you want to go, sweetheart?" Timmy nodded, his voice barely a whisper. "I need to." She wrapped him in a tight hug. "Your Uncle Theo will take good care of you. Just promise me you'll come back stronger." Timmy didn't promise. He just looked out the window as they drove away, the school and its pain shrinking behind him. As the bus pulled away from the station, Timmy turned for one last glance. His eyes, once wide and unsure, now held something else. Not hate, not fear, something deeper. A quiet resolve. That summer, no one at Jackson Middle saw or heard from Timmy Brooks. The video faded into the internet void, replaced by newer, shinier distractions. The bullies laughed like nothing ever happened. But far away, in a quiet mountain town, a new chapter of Timmy's story was just beginning. The bus ride to the countryside seemed endless. Hills rolled past the window like slow-moving waves, and the air grew cleaner, quieter, softer. Timmy sat silently, watching the world blur by. He had no idea what awaited him in the sleepy town of Harrow Creek, where his mother's older cousin, Uncle Theo, lived alone in a cottage just outside the woods. Theo was kind but quiet, a former soldier turned carpenter with rough hands and a soft heart. He didn't ask questions Timmy couldn't answer. On their first day together, he simply handed Timmy a pair of work gloves and said, "When the heart's heavy, the hands must move." They built birdhouses, chopped wood, hiked the trails. but it wasn't enough to lift the weight inside Timmy's chest. Then one afternoon, while wandering through the woods, Timmy heard rhythmic thwacks echoing through the trees. Curious, he followed the sound until he stumbled upon a clearing. There, an elderly man, lean and wiry with snow-white hair tied in a knot, moved like water between tall bamboo poles, striking each with fluid grace and precise force. His movements were both beautiful and terrifying. Timmy stood frozen, watching. The old man stopped without looking up. "You're not lost," he said, voice like gravel smoothed by time. I saw you training," Timmy stammered. "It was amazing." The man turned. His gaze, sharp and knowing, landed on Timmy like a blade. "What do you want?" Timmy hesitated, then stepped forward. "I want to learn. From you." The old man scoffed. "So you can fight back? Hurt the ones who hurt you?" "No," Timmy said quietly, eyes down. "So I don't feel afraid anymore." There was a long pause. Wind rustled the leaves above. "Humph," the man muttered. "Come back tomorrow. If you're early, I'll know you're serious." Timmy was there before sunrise. The man's name was Mr. Kai, a former martial arts champion turned recluse. He had left the city years ago to seek peace. What he taught was more than fighting. It was a way of life. His dojo, tucked behind a grove of trees, was no more than a wooden platform, a few old mats, and hanging chimes that danced with the wind. Training began with silence. For the first week, Mr. Kai made Timmy sit still for hours. No talking, no moving, just listening to the wind, the birds, and to himself. "It's not your fist you must control," Mr. Kai said one day, tapping Timmy's chest. "It's what lives in here." Then came the physical training. Grueling at first. Timmy's limbs ached. His balance wobbled. He tripped more than he struck, but he kept showing up, bleeding, sweating, falling, and rising again. He learned to breathe through pain, to center his weight, to strike only when necessary. He learned patience, stillness, respect. As weeks passed, his body changed. Muscles formed where there was once nothing but skin and bone. His back straightened, his movements sharpened. But more importantly, something inside began to shift. One evening, after a long session under the setting sun, Mr. Kai stood before Timmy holding a wooden board. "You've learned control, strength, focus. Let's see your spirit." Timmy took his stance, breathed in, focused. With a sharp cry, he drove his fist forward, and the board cracked clean in two. But there was no cheer, no triumphant shout. Instead, Timmy stepped back, bowed deeply, and whispered, "Thank you." Mr. Kai nodded once, a faint smile touching his lips. "Now you're ready." Timmy looked up, sweat glistening on his brow, heart steady. He didn't just feel stronger. He felt whole. That night, under the stars, Timmy stood alone at the edge of the forest, staring back toward town. The boy who had arrived at Harrow Creek, full of shame and fear, was gone. In his place stood someone new, calm, confident, and quietly powerful. Summer was ending, but his journey had only just begun. The school gates looked smaller now. Timmy stood at the edge of the campus, watching as students streamed in, their backpacks slung over one shoulder, eyes glued to phones, voices echoing with gossip and laughter. But he didn't flinch. Not this time. Gone was the slouched walk, the hunched shoulders, the fearful glances. In their place was quiet confidence, his step sure, his breath even, his gaze calm. His summer clothes were simple. Black hoodie, clean jeans, worn sneakers. But something in the way he wore them felt different. Like armor. Heads turned. "Yo, is that?" "No way. That's not Timmy." "It is him. But dude looks different." Whispers rippled through the halls like wind before a storm. Timmy said nothing. He didn't need to. As he walked through the corridors, he passed lockers that once slammed shut near his ears, now opening in slow silence. The kids who used to laugh when he tripped in the cafeteria now gave him a second look, eyes narrowing with confusion. And something else. Was it respect? Fear? In the courtyard, the familiar group of bullies lounged like kings without crowns, leaning against rails, tossing jokes between themselves, owning the space like they always had, until Timmy walked through. The laughter paused. "Look what the cat dragged in," chuckled Jason, the ringleader. Tall, smug, and always surrounded by his crew. Timmy glanced at him, then kept walking. Jason stepped forward, blocking his path. "What? No comeback? You mute now or just scared?" Timmy's eyes met his, calm, steady, not challenging, just clear. Then he stepped to the side. Jason moved again. Nah, not so fast." A small crowd began to gather. Jason jabbed a finger at Timmy's chest. "You think just 'cause you hit a few push-ups over summer, you're someone now?" Timmy didn't answer. He simply shifted his weight ever so slightly. Jason shoved him. It happened in a blink. Timmy's foot pivoted, his body turning like wind curling through reeds. Jason stumbled forward, thrown off balance by his own push, and flailed as he hit the ground hard. Gasps rose from the students around them. But Timmy didn't raise a fist. He didn't gloat. He simply stepped back and bowed. Jason scrambled up, red-faced. "You tripped me." Timmy finally spoke. His voice was calm, like a quiet stream. "No, you tripped yourself." Silence. Then, with the same grace he had shown all summer, he turned and walked away. By lunch, the story had already spread. Timmy the Ghost, back from nowhere, stronger than ever, quiet as thunder before it strikes. But Timmy wasn't here for fear or fame. That afternoon, during club sign-ups, he approached the school's martial arts booth. Behind the table sat Sensei Okafor, head of the club and a former champion himself. He looked up and raised an eyebrow at Timmy. "You practice?" he asked. Timmy nodded. "I'd like to enter the fall tournament." "You sure?" the sensei asked, eyeing the crowd nearby. Jason and his gang were already there, signing up with their usual bravado. Those boys fight to impress. It's not a game to them. "I'm not here to fight," Timmy said. "I'm here to show them they don't have to." The sensei studied him a moment longer, then handed him a registration slip. "You've got a calm fire in you. I respect that." As Timmy turned to leave, a shadow shifted near the edge of the courtyard. Standing beneath a tree, almost hidden, was Mr. Kai. He hadn't said he would come, hadn't needed to, but he was there, watching his student walk with purpose among the shadows of his past. Their eyes met. Mr. Kai gave a subtle nod, and Timmy, without breaking stride, returned it. The battle was coming, but it wasn't fists he would be throwing. It was strength of character, on full display. And this time, everyone would see. The gym was alive with noise. The bleachers were packed, buzzing with excitement and nervous energy. A sense of competition filled the air, thick and palpable, as students poured into the school gymnasium for the much-anticipated Fall Martial Arts Tournament. The chatter grew louder as the clock ticked down to the start. But the most excited voices belonged to the bullies, the same ones who had tormented Timmy. They had mocked the idea of him entering the tournament from the beginning, dismissing it as a joke. What could a scrawny kid like him possibly do in a real fight? Jason and his crew had made their bets on who would knock Timmy out first, laughing among themselves as they boasted about their supposed superiority. But as the announcement echoed through the gym, the atmosphere shifted. First round, Timmy versus Kyle. The room fell silent. Timmy, standing near the edge of the mat, adjusted his stance. He wore the same black hoodie and jeans, but beneath the simple clothes was a strength no one had expected. His training had sculpted him, not just in body, but in mind. The quiet confidence that had once been buried beneath the surface now radiated from him. It was a calm before a storm. Kyle, a hulking figure from the bully group, grinned arrogantly, cracking his knuckles as he stepped onto the mat. His muscles bulged beneath his tight t-shirt, and he had every intention of showing Timmy who was in charge. He wasn't just fighting for the title, he was fighting for pride. The referee's voice broke through the tension. "Fighters, ready?" Timmy nodded, his gaze calm but focused. He wasn't here to prove anything to anyone. He wasn't here for revenge. He was here to show that strength wasn't about size. It was about heart. The bell rang. Kyle lunged at Timmy, throwing a series of punches designed to overpower him. The crowd gasped, anticipating a quick knockout. But Timmy didn't flinch. He moved with grace, sidestepping Kyle's wild punches, his body flowing like water, dodging with precision. He wasn't rushing to retaliate. He was waiting for the right moment. Kyle's next swing came fast, but Timmy anticipated it. With a fluid motion, he stepped behind Kyle, using his opponent's momentum to gently throw him off balance. Kyle hit the mat with a loud thud, stunned but not hurt. The crowd gasped. Jason's smug expression faltered. Timmy bowed slightly and offered a hand to Kyle, helping him up. It's not about winning. It's about knowing when to fight and when to let go. Kyle didn't know what to say. He simply nodded, a mixture of surprise and respect in his eyes. The referee raised Timmy's hand, signaling his victory. The next round was already set. Timmy's next opponent was Ben, another of Jason's friends, known for his brute strength. Ben's strategy was different. He didn't waste time with flashy moves. He was direct, charging straight at Timmy with a body slam. But Timmy, having learned to control his emotions and movements, didn't panic. He didn't try to overpower Ben. Instead, he moved with the flow, guiding Ben's weight off him with the lightest of touches. Ben went tumbling, crashing into the mats with a stunned expression. Each victory brought more disbelief from the crowd, and the whispers only grew louder. How is this happening? Timmy wasn't winning by brute force, but with something deeper: skill, patience, and humility. He wasn't beating them down. He was outsmarting them. By the final round, the atmosphere in the gym had shifted entirely. The crowd was silent, watching Timmy's every move. The bullies, now on the edge of their seats, couldn't believe what they were witnessing. The last challenge was Jason himself. The fight began in silence. Jason stood taller than Timmy, his fists clenched, eyes filled with anger. He had waited for this moment, convinced he could destroy Timmy in front of everyone. But Timmy remained calm, his posture steady, his breathing controlled. Jason swung first, a wild haymaker aimed directly at Timmy's head. Timmy sidestepped, his movements fluid, almost like dancing. Every strike Jason threw was met with grace and precision. Each block was an elegant display of control, never excessive, never violent. Jason's frustration grew. He was bigger, stronger, but Timmy was faster. And more importantly, Timmy was patient. As Jason lunged at him again, Timmy finally moved in. He didn't strike. He didn't need to. Instead, he gently guided Jason's body off course, using his own momentum to send him spinning to the ground. Jason landed with crash, stunned and winded. Timmy stood over him, but instead of gloating, he extended his hand. You don't have to be strong to put others down. You have to be strong to lift them up. The gym was eerily silent. Jason's pride was shattered, but something else flickered in his eyes: respect. His chest rose and fell as he stared at Timmy's outstretched hand. Slowly, he took it. The crowd erupted in applause, not just for the win, but for the courage and honor Timmy had shown. His strength wasn't in his fists. It was in his heart. Timmy, as always, was quiet. He walked off the mat, his head held high, not with arrogance, but with a calm, quiet pride. He didn't need to speak to be heard. His actions had said everything. The bullies were humbled. The crowd was in awe. And Timmy, the one skinny kid who walked to the doors of that gym as an underdog, had left as something much greater. A hero,